Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Krystle in case you are new here, and today I have a fall book haul for you. So I always tell myself to not buy more books than I can read, but I know we all can relate here that we do that. So I have accumulated a bunch of books so far this fall, and I'm sure I will continue to haul some more books as fall continues to go on for the next month or so. But right now I just have a huge stack here that I'd like to share with you. I personally didn't do an October TBR this month only because I'm kind of just reading a bunch of things and I don't want to like decide permanently what my TBR is going to be for October. I just want to see I want to just go through the motions of October since it is my favorite month of the year, and I just want to read what I want to read when I want to read it instead of picking and feeling the pressure of having to finish certain books during that time period for the next 31 days. So instead of doing a TBR this month, I have decided to haul some books for you, and I can't wait to share them with you right now. Some of my book tastes have changed over the last year or so. I have been finding myself reading a little bit more romance, a little bit more fantasy. I still love horror books, but certain ones. I won't consider myself a horror reader any longer. I've just kind of branched off into other genres and other book styles, and I've always really loved witchy books, and I kind of just fell back into that as well. So this haul has a bunch of witchy, fantasy, and a few other things mixed in between, dark academia, all of that. So I hope you enjoy this book haul, and let me know if you've read any of these books as well. So off of my TBR cart that I have over here, I'm going to start off with Ordinary Monsters by J.M. Miro. This is a new release. I want to say this is a first book by this author, but I'm not exactly sure. But this is a like dark academia, but also kind of paranormal. Our main characters, they all become students at this school, and they're all kind of brought into this school because they have certain powers similar to like X-Men. It kind of gives me Institute vibes from Stephen King a little bit, but this has to do with necromancy as well. So I thought this was a really cool concept of a book, and I can't wait to get into it. I would say it's a combination of horror and fantasy and a couple of other elements woven in between, but like I said, I can't give you my full opinions because I haven't read this yet, but I'm planning on picking it up at least before the end of the year. But look how pretty this copy is. It's a beautiful book. It does take place in Edinburgh, can't say it, from Jersey. I have a very strong accent, but yeah, or England or something like that, but it's historical, and I can't wait to get into it. The next book I'm gonna haul is Just Like Home by Sarah Gailey. I still haven't read this. This has been on my, I think, September TBR, August TBR. Still haven't picked it up, but I know it's a haunted house thriller, serial killer type book, and I'm looking forward to getting into it. Sarah Gailey does have like some weird concepts woven into her stories from previous books that I've read in the past, so I'm looking forward to getting to this. And not for nothing, this is a pink book, and I love pink books. I want all of the pink, hot pink books out there. Next, I'm gonna haul Stephen King's Fairy Tale. I have been waiting so long for this book, and I did start reading it, but I put it aside for now because I wasn't getting any fall vibes from it just yet, and I think this will be a great book to read come November, to get lost into like fantasy and Stephen King's brain. His writing is a lot, and I just need like a whole month set aside for this book. So I'm looking forward to getting to it. Can't wait. I know so many of us Stephen King readers have been really wanting to read this, and I've heard things that it's like loosely linked to the Dark Tower series, but you don't have to read the Dark Tower series to pick up this book. I haven't finished the Dark Tower series, so I'm not planning on reading it before reading this. Definitely going to be diving into this next as my next Stephen King book. Then next I picked up Long Live the Pumpkin Queen by Shea Earnshaw. I love Shea Earnshaw's writing. I think she is an excellent author, and each book she puts out gets better and better every time. Her writing is beautiful. So I'm looking forward to reading her take on Sally, who is one of my favorite Disney characters of all time. I actually have been Sally for Halloween numerous times. The Nightmare Before Christmas is one of my favorite movies, and I want to see if this has all the fall vibes that I'm looking for. It seems that way. When I read the first page, it seemed super fall, moody atmosphere, all those things that we're looking for in our fall reads. I wouldn't say it's too spooky because this is based on technically like a child's story. So I'm looking to see where Shea Earnshaw takes our Pumpkin Queen Sally and what the story really is about. Then another book that I hauled is Suburban Hell, and this is by Maureen Kilmer. I heard that this is a really funny story, similar to Grady Hendrix's Southern Book Club Guide to Slaying Vampires, which I absolutely loved that book. So I'm looking forward to getting into this and seeing what I think. It is a relatively short one, so this is definitely high up on my TBR for October, and I'm hoping to get to it very soon. That I have here that I'm hauling is Lake's Edge by Lyndall Clipstone. This is actually a book that I unhauled and then I just bought it again because I've been hearing great things about it, and I don't know why I unhauled it. I lost my beautiful hardback copy, but I think when I was moving I was just kind of unhauling books that I didn't read or didn't plan on reading at the moment, and now I'm kind of regretting that. So I repurchased this in paperback, and I think this is like a monster romance, young adult fantasy, but I heard that it's a really great concept and it's an original story, and I'm looking forward to getting to this. My friend Bianca loved this story. It's one of her favorite books of all time, so I would love to know why she thinks that, and yeah, so I'm gonna hopefully pick it up soon. Then next I picked up this beautiful book just based on the cover itself, but it's called They Drown Our Daughters, and this is by Katrina Monroe. I've heard good things from after like purchasing it, researching it. I'm pretty sure Kayla from Books and Lala really enjoyed this book, so I want to see what it's about. I personally do have a fear of drowning, so I don't know if this is gonna go well with my fear of that, if I'm gonna feel any of those feelings while I'm reading it, but I'm curious to see how it goes. I heard it's a beautiful story and it's heart-wrenching and it's horrific at the same time. So I feel like this would be a great fall book. It just sounds very fall-like, and it has some magical elements to it as well. So curious to see where this author takes us in this book. The next I picked up and read Light Lark, and this is by Alex Astor. I really enjoyed this book. I thought this was fun. Fantasy, totally reminds me of like old school YA fantasy books that made me fall in love with the genre to begin with. Really loved it. This book is gorgeous. So nice. Yeah, so I really enjoyed it. I could see the problems with this book for most people, but I don't know. It wasn't a perfect story by any means, but I just really loved it and had a great time reading it. Highly suggest you picking it up if you like Throne of Glass and Sarah J Maas's books. I think this was kind of reminiscent of her books. Nothing like Sarah J Maas in the aspect of writing and plot, but it was fun. It was fun. Next I have Babel by R.F. Kuang. This book is so good. I've been kind of reading it here and there. It's taken me a long time to get through it, but I just haven't been able to finish it. Plus, I just have so many other books on my TBR for the month of October, but I'm still currently reading this and I'm really enjoying it. It's super dense. There's a lot of information. It's very heavy on colonization and politics. This does also take place in Oxford University, which I think is a great setting for a book because I've always wanted to go there and experience that school. I actually have a client who is a student there currently, which I think is so cool. And she's also studying translations as well. So I totally recommended her this book, and she's reading it right now while she's in school. But I think it's so cool how this book weaves in translation and magic and silverworking. So you do have like fantasy elements to it, along with a lot of literacy as well, which is so much fun. Very smart book, let's put it that way. Not that you have to be super smart to read it, but it does help. Then I have here Belladonna, and this is by Adeline Grace. I haven't read anything by Adeline Grace. I've heard great things about her writing before, but this book really just intrigued me just by the cover alone. Along with the concept of this book, it just sounds really up my alley. I love anything that has to do with witchy vibes and herbs and earthy things. I love gothic mysteries, and this just has everything kind of like wrapped into one from what I hear. It also has to do with the god of death, I believe, and our main character sees him take souls, so I think that's really cool as well, and I want to know why. So I'm currently reading this actually for Jodi's book club on her Patreon, and yeah, I'm loving it so far. From what I've read, 2 chapters, it seems pretty cool. And next I'm also hauling a special edition book of a book I've read already, and that is A Quarter Silver Flames by Sarah J Maas. This is the black edition, and I just had to have my hands on it. I just love this book so much. Nesta is one of my favorite characters of all time, and I can't wait to read this book in this edition. It is so cool, it's so pretty, and I recommend getting your hands on it if you have a Barnes & Noble near you, as long as they have them. I don't know how long they're gonna have them for, but it looks so pretty on the shelves with all of the different colors of her other books. The black just kind of really stands out. Next I have Wild as the Witch, and this is by Rachel Griffin. This will be my second book by Rachel Griffin. I really love the nature of witches. I love the whole magic system of Nature of Witches. It has everything that I want in a witchy story, so I decided to pick up her second book. And of course, just like the first one, the covers are just so pretty on the inside and on the outside, but I just really love the binding of these books. But this has to do with, this takes place on the Pacific Northwest, and it's about a witch who accidentally puts her curse on somebody, and she kind of has to right her wrongs, along with having to save an animal who kind of is a conduit for their magic. And this owl kind of made its way into the woods. So she and a character she's not fond of have to go into the woods together to find this owl, I think. I don't really know. Let me know if I'm right on giving this concept. I'm the worst at giving synopsises. But anyway, this sounds really witchy, really fun, and a little bit of a romance, and I just love all those things, all wrapped into one. The next I have another book that I just recently read, and that is Small Town Big Magic. This book was so much fun to read. I love the cover, I love the vibes. This gave me like Gilmore Girls vibes, along with like Charmed vibes, and just that small town, but like a magic lurking on every corner, kind of Hallmarky in a way. It was just such a great story. I love the romance in here. There were some spicy scenes, but pretty tamed down, but you needed a little bit of spice in there to lighten up the mood. But I really, really enjoyed this, and I thought it was fun. So I've been seeing it pop up everywhere on Instagram lately, TikTok, so pick it up if you haven't already. It really is a fun fall book, and I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a great story from beginning to end, and if you're looking for a cozy romance, this is it. The next I have here, A Good Girl's Guide to Murder by Holly Jackson. This is a series that I've been looking to get into, but I just haven't picked it up yet. I see it everywhere, and I started reading it in the summer, but I just kind of put it aside. I feel like it would be a great, quick series to get through, and I've heard nothing but amazing things. The next I have here, Gallows Hill by Darcy Coates. I love Darcy Coates more than any other like serial horror writer. I think her books are just grade A spooky, and they just have all the spooky elements that you're looking for in a creepy book. Ghost story, always ghost stories. So this is her newest release, and this has to do with like a gothic spooky mansion, and yeah, I just can't wait to get to it. So I actually picked up the physical copy, even though Darcy Coates books are all free on Kindle Unlimited, which I do have. I just felt like needing like the copy. I saw it in Barnes & Noble, it was buy one get one 50% off, and it just looked really nice. It's a really nice, like that like matte, soft matte feel. Here is One Dark Window, and this is by Rachel Gillick. I have been hearing a lot about this. I heard that it has the perfect gothic spooky vibes to it. I'm not going to be reading it in October, but I feel like this will be a great transition book from November to December. when the days start to get a little darker and a little creepier. This is a fantasy, but also a ghost story, and I don't really know much else about it. The synopsis really doesn't give much away either, so I'm curious to see what it's about. Next, I have a paranormal romance, and that is Heathens, and this is by Nicole Fiorina. I have been seeing this pop up a little bit more on TikTok, and also my friend Bianca, who recommends me all of the witchy books, said this was a really great witchy fall book to read. Also, you know, a little heavier on the romance than most, and it's an adult, so I can't wait to read this. I already checked out the first chapter to see if it was something I was gonna like before I purchased it, and our main character sees dead people, and I think that is so cool. And there are a bunch of other creatures in this book as well, so I'm looking forward to seeing how this plays out. It's a big chunker of a book, and I love that there's some pictures in here, so cool. Didn't really see that on the Kindle edition, so if you're looking to read this book, even though it's free on Kindle Unlimited, there are pictures, and I don't say no to pictures. Next, I have here The Court of the Vampire Queen, and this is by Katie Robert. I am currently reading this right now, and holy heavy on the spice in this book. It is steamy right off the bat. I know there are other books in this world, I believe, that I didn't really see it in Barnes & Noble or anywhere else, so I don't really know if you had to have read them first. But so far, this book is very, very spicy. There are trigger warnings in the front of the book before you read it, so make sure you check out those trigger warnings before purchasing this book, because it is pretty dark and it's about vampires, so there is blood used. So if anything kind of makes you cringe, definitely check out the trigger warnings for this book. And I love the dedication of this page. Let me just read to you. To everyone who was Team Damon, Team Spike, and far too into Dmitry Belikov. So we have Vampire Diaries, we have Buffy, and we have Vampire Academy mentioned in the dedication page, which I think is so awesome. So far, loving this book, and I can't wait to tell you my final thoughts on it. There are some weird things going on in this book, but I'll let it pass. Getting a little washed out from the sun. My window is right over here, so I'm sorry about the lighting, guys. It's really sunny today. So the next book that I have here is The Butcher and the Wren, and this is by Elena Urquhart. I listen to the Morbid podcast. I love those girls. I listen to them every week when there's a new podcast released, so I needed to support one of my favorite podcasters with her book. This is her first published novel, and I've heard amazing things so far. It's about a serial killer. It's dark and mysterious, and I just can't wait to see what it's about. On one of the most recent podcasts, they did read an excerpt from the book, and it sounded so good. So I need to pick this up at some point. I will, but I'm glad that I was able to support her as an author and a podcaster, and yeah, I'm excited. Next, I have this published edition of The Atlas 6 by Olivia Blake. I do have the self-published edition, but I heard that some things were changed in the most recent one that was picked up by Tor. So I picked up this book in lieu of the second book coming out soon to read it, to see if there was any changes that were made. But I do really like this copy so much better. It's easier to read. The self-published one is pretty stiff, and it was a little pain to kind of read. So I'm looking forward to getting into this and seeing what the talk is of The Atlas 6. And then next, I just picked up Kingdom of the Feared by Carrie Maniscalco. This is the third book in a fantasy series about twin witches, where one sister finds the other sister dead by a demon, that her sister was playing around with some dark magic, and it kind of leads her to this guy named Wrath, and he is one of the 7 princes of hell. So I think that is a really cool concept. I really enjoyed the first book. I still have yet to read the second book, and hopefully now that the third one is out, that's going to push me to read the second book this month. I'm hoping to get to it. It's sitting on my desk right in front of me. So hopefully after Court of the Vampire Queen, I pick up Kingdom of the Curse. The next cute little story that I picked up, which is of Moonshine Manor, and this is by Bianca Marais. I don't really know much about this, but this is a literary fiction about a family of witches, and something happens in their town and they need to like redeem things, I think. It says 5 octogenarian witches gather as an angry mob threatens to demolish Moonshine Manor. All eyes turn to the witch in charge, Queenie, who confesses they've fallen far behind on their mortgage payments. Still, there's hope since the imminent return of Ruby, one of the sisterhood who's been gone for 33 years, will surely be their salvation. But the mob is the only start of their troubles. One man is hell-bent on avenging his family for the theft of a legacy he claims was rightfully his. In an act of desperation, Queenie makes a bargain with an evil far more powerful than anything they've ever faced. The things take a turn for the worse when Ruby's homecoming reveals a seemingly insurmountable obstacle instead of the solution to all their problems. The witches are determined to save their home and themselves, but their aging powers are no match for increasingly malicious threats. Thankfully, they get a bit of help from Persephone, a feisty TikToker eager to smash the patriarchy. As the deadline to save the manor approaches, fractures among the sisterhood are revealed and long-held secrets are exposed, culminating in a fiery confrontation with their enemies. So it sounds kind of funny, kind of cozy, a little bit of everything, and I'm looking forward to getting to this at some point, but I had to pick it up. I have this one that everyone's been hauling pretty much everywhere, and that is this very secret society of irregular witches, and this is by Sangu Mendana. I am a sucker for a cozy witch book, and this just sounds like it has all the perfect cozy feels to it, along with some romance, so looking forward to picking this up very soon. I picked up a few cozy mystery books. I picked up Death in Castle Dark, and this is by Veronica Bond, and this is just a gothic mystery, mini mystery, cozy mystery, and this is Bait and Witch, and this is by Angela M. Sanders. This was like on the new release wall at Barnes & Noble, so I picked this one up. I think they sound really good. I love a cozy mystery, especially in the fall and winter time, and anything witchy or about a spooky mansion, my favorites. So I had to pick these up. I think that is it for this book haul. I hope you guys found some new books to purchase for yourself if you're looking to haul some new books, and I hope that I get to read at least half of these books this year before the year ends. I know my reading has been kind of all over the place and I haven't been reading much, but I'm kind of focusing a little bit more and able to read a lot more lately. I've been having more time to myself, which is so nice. On that note, that is it for this book haul. If you like this video, please just like and subscribe, and also make sure to leave a comment down below on this video, even if it's just a heart emoji at the end, just to kind of keep the algorithm going. I haven't been posting many videos in a while, so it's been kind of hard to get back up there in the ranks of being seen. Links to all my social media are down below of this video, and if you want to see more videos from me, please just like and subscribe down below, and I'll be talking to all of you guys very soon. Bye!